What's up, everybody? On this Mileage Unknown, we are continuing to work on Penelope. Now, we put that new starter in and the car does start kind of sometimes when it wants to. So today I'm actually going to take a look at some of the grounds and just clean them up. But also I have something new to install in the car and I will show you that right now. So this is a hard start relay kit. I actually got this one from West Coast Metric. I ordered it. They shipped it super quick. And the part number on this one is a 111-006V. I will also put a link to this below just in case you want to order it. And if you look here, this is the instructions. It looks super simple to install. So hopefully it is that easy. I know some people have put these together themselves. Honestly, because I had never done one, I just bought one from West Coast Metric. In the last video we did, there was plenty of comments saying I should add a hard start relay to the car. It seems like some of the 6-volt cars, Volkswagens, could benefit from this. Most 12-volt cars probably aren't going to need this unless you have a lot of ground issues and power issues, which could be a little bit of the problem with Penelope. Even though we've cleaned them, replaced them, done as much grounds as you possibly could, I still think this might help with the hard start issues we have. And it looks super simple. So it looks like they gave me enough wire and connections and everything to keep the relay inside the car. Some people said they install them outside of the car, but if I could keep this in under the back seat by the battery area, run the wires through to the starter and the one to the, to battery, everything that we need to do from under the back seat, that's what we're going to do. What I think I'm going to do with the relay kit and wiring is actually pull this cable back through and try and get the wires that need to go out to the starter area through that same hole. Okay. So technically all 4 wires could go out in the engine compartment. These 3 are going to interact with the starter in one way or another. This is going to go on the starter. This one's going to go on the starter. This one's going to the power coming from the ignition switch. This one we need to just put to ground somewhere. So whether I clean up a spot in here and put it to ground, or whether I try and find something externally outside of the car to put to ground, that's where the brown wire needs to go. But I'm hoping we can at least get these 3 through the same hole with the main cable. I do think the brown one will probably stay in here, clean up a spot. This might be too tight of a fit.
That's what she said.
See you coming through yet. I got one of them through. I forgot how big of a pain this can be to actually get that battery cable through to the starter. It's not a straight shot, so let alone trying to get the battery cable through but to get the other wires through that hole too might be some back and forth. Just this little bit of bend is causing it, when you push through, to hit something and push it past the hole to where we can't just grab it really easy. So I'm just trying to straighten that out a little bit and try again. Maybe I should make sure all 3 of the smaller wires are through all the way through first. That way I don't have to deal with trying to grab the small wires as well as the big one. Because once the big one's in the way, it's much harder to grab the small ones. So I think one of the body grommets might have partially come apart in the car. which is why I'm having an issue actually pushing any of these through. It hits that grommet and deflects them. So, figured maybe taping the 3 small ones together might be a little bit easier target to get a hold of, to get at least these 3 first, and then we'll worry about the other, the big main cable. Like I said, I think I'm gonna leave the ground in the car itself, so hopefully that'll help us out a little bit. Ugh.
Hey, Studley.
This is what makes it hard about working on Volkswagens in Arizona this time of year. It is so hot.
And humid.
And humid. Okay, so the trick, at least to the first bundle of wires, where we were getting close but kind of missing the hole, it actually took just kind of twisting the wires. Instead of just trying to push straight through, we had to do a little twist to actually get that section to go through. Hopefully, big wire goes a little easier. So the kit did say to use electrical tape here on this connection, which I did. Honestly, I would have preferred to use some shrink wrap, some heat shrink, but unfortunately all the heat shrink I have here wasn't big enough. So we went with electrical tape. We're gonna keep hooking stuff up. So far, once we got all the wires through, everything's should be pretty easy at this point. That was the only thing that kind of sucked. I'm a little bummed I didn't get to use some heat shrink right there, but if I get some bigger heat shrink, I'll come back and redo that at some point probably. Well, there's not a ton of wire left to mount the relay, so it's possible I might actually just try and screw it in there. Or who knows, maybe I'll let it dangle. We'll see. I'll probably try and throw a screw through it right there. The question is, where is a good spot for that ground? It's crazy. Volkswagens are can be pretty finicky about their grounds, so I might be able to just scrape off some of the paint right there and screw it right in, and it might work fine. It might not. I guess there's only one way to really find out. If I just do something super simple and try and clean off a little patch and screw it in, but I don't know if it'll work or not, or if that'll be a good enough ground just for that relay section. Well, I'm half tempted to actually just pull the battery ground off, re-clean behind this bolt nut and that strap, and maybe just put it directly behind. Just sandwich it in behind the strap against the bare metal back there.
And that won't affect the ground for the battery?
Shouldn't. I would love to know, guys, if you've done one of these relays, where did you put your ground?
I was gonna ask.
It's hot. I'm done. So right now, I honestly will probably come back and make some of this a little bit more pretty. I didn't mount the relay yet. I'm gonna do that. I did just kind of sandwich the ground behind the ground. I cleaned everything up, cleaned the bolt up, cleaned the washer, cleaned the ground, cleaned the body. Everything's cleaned up. So hopefully that's a good enough spot for now. Got the battery back in and hooked up, and we'll see if it makes a difference. You can do it from here. Make sure it's not in gear. That'd be bad. And survey says nothing happens. Somehow I pulled one of the wires off the starter, probably when I was messing with everything. So hopefully I didn't ruin anything. But let's try it now. Well, I thought we had a total failure to launch situation. Went to start it, had a click. I could actually hear the hard start relay clicking and thought, crap, I've done something wrong when it was such a simple install. Or maybe me just wedging the ground behind the ground didn't work, which I still might go back and clean that up a bit. But ever since I figured out what was wrong, when I had been moving the relays, moving stuff around, I had actually ended up pulling the wire off the starter at some point, either when I was still back there trying to get wires through something. So hook that starter up and guess what? Every time honestly, since I've owned this car, I don't feel like I've ever had that feeling from the key that I knew it was going to crank over. You know, we had gone through multiple starters when the original one finally failed and crushed us. Batteries and cables and wiring and you name it. And then even the last starter that we put in was working, but you'd get in the car, click, 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 vroom. It would take who knows how many tries before it would click. And now, every time I turn the key, it cranks over, which is a nice, nice feeling. So I'd say the hard start relay on a 6-volt Volkswagen for the win. That's going to be it for this Mileage Unknown. Stay tuned for more car shenanigans.